Remember who you are. This period after the mind wipe and before the return out of this reality, you have this period to suss it. So when you leave, you are streetwise in what's coming and you're out of here. So this period we call a human life is extremely important for that. So we've come a long way from Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and all these people who are focusing attention on the partly awake. I'm not David Icke. I'm all that is, has been, and ever can be, having a brief human experience, labeled David Icke. It's not the same thing. And so when I've lost interest in lots of things in the fakery over the years. One or two things I still enjoy. Some new things like gardening. But I'm in this world, but I'm not of it, and that's what awakening is. And it's really, really important that we awaken while in this human body, and I'll tell you why. Over the years, in various books, I've explored the so-called afterlife and listened and researched endless people, I mean phenomenal numbers of people in so-called near-death experiences, and especially people that have memories of the between life state, what some people might call the soul state, another level of self, still not the true I, but another level of self, which operates in this astral dimension, etc. And the common themes are very compelling that they tell. They may have different spins on it, but the experience is very compelling in its common themes. And one of them is that as we enter this human realm and enter a human vehicle, which allows us to interact with this human realm of density, we pass through it's been described by some as like a vast electromagnetic field which wipes your memory, which would explain why, although some, especially young children, can remember previous experiences in this reality, usually goes by the age of 8, 10, sometimes later, but not often. But most people do not have memories of that kind. So you come in, you pass through the mind wipe, as I call it in the books, and you enter this realm. So you're starting with who am I? Even if you ask those questions, who am I? Where am I? What is this place? And you go through a human life where the um, your perception is being manipulated and programmed all along, so you stay within the body program, and then you leave when your body ceases to exist, because the body is a biological computer that allows consciousness to experience this reality. If I didn't have a body, I couldn't hold that glass up, because
But in a very limited way, right?
very limited way, very more limited the better from the
Mhm.
manipulator's point of view. So we take on this external body, which, or external body, another way of describing it, um, because it is operating within the frequency band of this human realm of density. So I can interact with it. Consciousness can't interact with it directly because they're just completely different frequencies. Then the body, which is decoding. This is what people don't get. It's what science doesn't get. It's what almost everybody doesn't get. The body is decoding this reality, this simulated reality, this information source into a holographic state that we experience as physical.
But sorry to
And,
interrupt, but even mainstream science explains that in a way by saying your eyes don't really see, your ears don't really
yeah,
hear. You're getting electrical signals, and your brain is interpreting those signals and putting a picture together in your brain,
abs-
basically.
absolutely right. This is one of the things that really gets frustrating sometimes. Is you got some of it and you got some of it, Mr. Scientist, people. But what you don't do is put it all together. And one of the reasons you don't put it all together is because if you did put it all together, you wouldn't be a scientist anymore within the mainstream of orthodoxy. So I'll just stay in my little box and I won't talk to other boxes and get the big picture. So when the the body expires, it ceases to function like a computer ceases to function and the screen goes black. It ceases to decode the matrix system at this level, there are other levels, and deliver this reality to consciousness. And suddenly, that consciousness, freed from that um, delivery of reality, decoded delivery of reality, like a computer decodes Wi Fi, suddenly finds itself released from this human awareness and it's in another reality, in another state. And that's when the whole system wants to control your perception again, just a different reality, same game, so that you'll go up the tunnel or whatever to the light and you'll go into the recycling system back into this reality to continue to produce the low vibrational energy which the whole system kind of is founded upon. So you come in and you are mind wiped. You go through in a bewildered state, wherever whatever people may think. Actually, the foundation is that bewilderment. Who am I? Where am I? What's going on? And then you go out the other end. And one of the things I find quite amusing is when you have all these near death experiences. My God, I've read so many of them and watched so many of them over the years, where they say, I left the body and it was like I'd never felt anything like it before. I'd never experienced anything like it. And you go, but now you kind of back, right? Okay, yeah. You believe in reincarnation, right? That consciousness can do that. Yeah, oh yeah, I believe in reincarnation. Yeah, yeah. So you must have experienced it endless times. So what do you mean? It's I'd never experienced anything like it before. You obviously have. And the reason they can't is the mind wipe. And so, because of the mind wipe, that's still in the mind wipe state, which is why I've never experienced anything like it before, you are then at the mercy of projected religious heroes related to your particular belief in this life. And I explain in the books how that works and what makes it possible. And you, I mean, imagine you're a Christian and you believe in Christianity and you believe in Jesus as your savior, and you leave the body and suddenly there's a projection. You don't think it's a projection, but it's a projection of Jesus. Well, I mean, what's the chances that you're going to follow Jesus up the tunnel to the light? I mean, massive, of course.
Of course.
But
Especially after maybe a difficult life, especially maybe after a difficult death or sickness, right?
Exactly, because you go into a low vibrational state. That's what they want you in, because the matrix, um, at its different levels, is a band of frequency. You go beyond that band of frequency with your perceptual state and your self identity, who you believe and who you know you are, and you're out of here. They don't want that. They want to keep you in the matrix multi-leveled frequency band. So you're coming in mind wiped. You're going through life where your perceptions are manipulated into religion and politics and all this crap. And then you leave the body and you're still in a mind wipe state. So you are at the mercy of the manipulation to get you on the what the Buddhists call the wheel of samsara, back into this world. So there is a period after the mind wipe and before you leave the body where you can get streetwise to the game. Is if you open your mind from the myopia and the program, you can start to tap in to awareness that gives you a fix on the game. And most importantly, again, gives you a fix on your true self identity. And so when you leave the body, it's not, oh, I've never experienced anything like it before. You leave the body and it's like, okay, I know the game, so I ain't playing it. And if your self identity is strong enough, is deep enough, the true I consciousness, then you're out of it. They can't keep you here. They can't, because these so-called archontic forces, which I write about in the books, um, they're not very bright. They're not very bright. They are themselves lost and disconnected from the greater reality of consciousness. Um, and their ability is to know the game, therefore know how it's played, to understand that if people awaken to a certain self identity of self, their frequency reaches a point where they can't keep them in the simulation. Then what they do by their knowledge of the game, which they keep from the population, so the dynamic of knowledge is ignorance but know the game against ignorance of not knowing the game, they are able to manipulate people into low vibrational states and subordinate states. So you are given within this human reality various choices, all of which lead to the same thing. One, you are told by orthodox science that you are a cosmic accident, that you emerged at some point from a primordial soup and eventually evolved to become Ethel on the checkout, right? Okay. And then when Ethel ceases to function bodily, she ceases to function and exist. Get letters after your name for that one. And then there's another alternative, which vast people still believe, and that is different versions called religions of you down here, he up there. He controls you. You have to keep him happy. Because depending on the religion, either you have multiple incarnations evolving to but you never do, unless you awaken truly to keep him happy. Or you have one life on earth, which can be born into a billionaire family or extreme poverty in Africa, Asia, wherever. And Mr. Big judges you on that one life on earth. You become a pastor if you believe that, and an imam, and all this stuff. And so, what's that? I'm subordinate to him. Subordination. Little me. I have no power. He has it all. Save me, Lord. No, no, no. Remember who you are. You don't need anyone to save you. You are an expression of all that is, has been, and ever can be. And then you have the kind of the new age and other expressions which say, oh no, we reincarnate. That's true, but it's to evolve, to learn lessons. All right, okay. So you're learning lessons. So you come in, you have your mind wiped, and then you go through a series of experiences that uh, you have no idea if you've had those experiences before, and so you could make the same quote mistakes that you made before because you've had your mind wiped. You're not actually learning anything, and then you go out the other end and you go up the tunnel, and then you do it again. And there's always, oh, there's more lessons to learn. So you have to go back. And oh, actually, the more extreme your experience, the more lessons you learn. And oh, this crap. And it's all subordination. When people leave the body in the near death experiences, they talk about, oh, I met these elders, or I met Jesus, or I met this uh, spiritual guide. And they and oh yes, because you're the spiritual guide, so I'm down here and I just did listen to what you say. What? What? Remember who you are. So what I'm saying is this period before, after the mind wipe and before the return out of this reality, you have this period to suss it. So when you leave, you are streetwise in what's coming and you're out of here. And that is a period that is uh, desperately policed to make sure as many people as possible don't get it. And there's diversions galore. If you believe in Jesus as your savior, it don't matter what you've done in your life. It don't matter. As long as you believe in Jesus in as your savior, you'll be going to heaven. And actually, Jesus, in a projection, will be there to meet you and confirm it. Uh, and all by the way, if you live a very moral and straight life, and you're very kind to people, and you look after people, and it doesn't matter if you don't believe in Jesus, you're doomed. And then there's the Allah version, and there's the Yahweh version, and oh, the Hindu version, and oh, here we go. Um, that's why it's so vital that you withdraw from that shite and just observe and see that it is all shite. Gatekeepers, structures, cul-de-sacs to park you in, so you don't suss it before the end, so that they can get you again. And so this period we call a human life is extremely important for that. And so we've come a long way from Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and all these people who are focusing attention on the partly awake.
But you have literally just spoken to a very fast growing number of people who are exploring just that.
Yeah,
And you have addressed some very real fears and worries, which I do get, because what I think most people grew up with in one way or another is they understand this world is very rules and regulations and laws based, and it all, like you say, authority systems, and they get that and totally understand it. But most people were sort of raised into belief once you pass over, it's all completely different, and it's
yeah,
all, and it's not. It's just as much
no,
a regulated system,
yeah,
and that system will have some more pleasant realms for you to go into. As long as it can keep you within its system, it can give you a more ethereal realm still part. And that's, I think, one that people are really hung up on, is this ascension talk that's been around for decades and decades in the new age. And oh, we will ascend. Yes. And it might be a more pleasant experience, but it's still within a construct that is here to hold you here because you're feeding it. And then people are saying, but what is beyond it? What is outside of this system? And they're scared of that because they say, what if I don't have any experiences any longer? What if I make the wrong choice? What if I'm offending this system? Or what if I'm turning, turning down my opportunity to have eternity? So these are all legitimate fears right now. And frankly, I don't know that anyone has all the answers to that, but I have a memory, I can say that. It's a different memory than in your mind, of a way of being and expressing that is completely free. It has no boundaries. Wherever my point of interest takes me, I can go. Whatever I wish to see, I can see. I have no way of explaining it in any other way. But to me, that memory comes from outside of this matrix system. It's not from within it. Do you have any memories, images, or explanations for what is outside of the system?
Well, first of all, yeah, I have feeling for what it's like outside the system.
What if you could change the way your life feels without actually changing your life? No new routines, no new supplements, no complicated protocol. That's what the 7-day shift experiment is all about. Just activate your free trial and simply live your life as you normally would for 7 days. Then pay attention to what changes: your sleep, your energy, your mood, maybe even the world around you. Thousands are already experiencing this. Just go to 7dayshiftexperiment.com or click the link down below and join. It's absolutely free, and for once, change nothing. Just notice what changes.